Welcome back to the Turnbuckle Tavern and another edition of our Visits to Tavern, live from the No Cell Studios. I'm the Ace of the Tavern, Acefield Retro, and I'm joined today by the VESTLER, Jack Tomlinson. Thanks for joining me, Jack. What's going on, man?
Thank you for having me. Dude, I swear, that was so cool, that intro. So I wish you could see my face while I was watching that. I was like, wait, what's happening? This is it's such an upgrade from the last one. I was like, oh, this is sick.
Oh, well, now I got the Tavern backing me over here. We got a whole bunch of guys, and Turnbuckle Tavern's where it's at, but this will be airing on Acefield Retro and also at Turnbuckle Tavern. So, it's great to have you back. You referenced it. I had you on my second interview ever. So it's been about 9 months at this point.
Oh, your first was Phil, right?
Yeah. Phil Cardigan was my first and second. And then here we are. I think this is number 18 overall, as far as my one-to-one interviews.
Oh, no. Am I the first reoccurring?
Yes, you are. You're the first reoccurring guest, which is, there you go.
I beat Phil for
the accolades.
I love it. I love that. All right, so you got a new intro. I'm the first. And now you got a new denim jacket on. You weren't wearing denim last time. Is that like the new thing?
I wasn't. No, this is now my gimmick. When I go to the VPW shows, I rock the same stuff. You want people to recognize you, so you have to wear something similar. Yeah.
Should I be wearing denim then?
Of course. Yo, if you have a denim jacket, pop it on right now.
I do. Okay. Mine is a little bit heavier. It's got like the sheepskin wool or whatever you call it. Throw this thing on. I have made only one for anyone watching the visual. The denim is now on.
Oh,
I'm gonna rock it the whole time. Beneath it is some Jackpack merch, available at prowrestlingtees.com/JTVlogs. Always plug. I have made one Black Friday sale in my entire life, and it is this jacket right here.
That is amazing. Where is that from? Is that like an online purchase, in-person purchase?
H&M.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to.
Consumer of H&M too.
I used to work at a Disney store, and I grew up going to this Disney store. And then when I ended up going to college, it was like literally 5 minutes from my college, and I needed a job as I was like transitioning from like high school to college. And I found out that Disney had like this holiday work job where they just doubled their staff going into Thanksgiving and Christmas because the demand for their supply was a lot higher. So they needed more workers. So I had a job at Disney for a while, which was really cool.
That is amazing.
Yeah. They gave me a card that gave me like, I want to say it was like 10 or 15% off. And I went to downtown Disney. Now keep in mind, I didn't actually go to Disney. I worked at a Disney store in Long Island, and I went to downtown Disney in Florida, and I used that card and it worked. And I was like, whoa. I should never leave Disney.
Well, dude, it's so good to have you back on here. And as you mentioned before, this is the second time that I've had the privilege of chatting with you. It is, however, the first time your face is donned on the Tavern right now. So welcome to the Turnbuckle Tavern. And if you guys want some of the origin stuff, go back to the first interview, like I said, aired in February 2022. A lot has happened since then, and you've continued your upward climb through wrestling and also acting. There's a lot going on in the Jack Tomlinson universe. But what's your overall assessment of how the past 9 months have gone since we last spoke with you?
I have to say it's been very good. Not only for myself, but for my tag team VBU with Dante. And I think all the success I have found in any walk of life has been mainly having the best tag partner in the world with D. But man, can I brag here for a second? Is that rude? Is that wrong?
Of course. This is what it's all about, man.
No, I can't do it. All right. Oh gosh. I swear I try and be a humble guy. That was the most unhumble thing I could have said. Off to a bad start. I'm very fortunate right now. I'm 22 years young, not old, because I don't say I'm old because old has a negative connotation. There's a very, very popular phrase: old dogs can't learn new tricks. Well, I'm young. I most definitely am a dog, though. That is a fact. And I'm 22 years young. I'm an ambassador for Prime. I've wrestled for WWE and AEW. I am the social media champion of professional wrestling. I have a on the horizon blossoming acting career. I'm living my best life. I thank God every day for what I got.
Dude, so awesome. And let's start with, you mentioned it before and just right now, and the most recent development, amazing news. You are now a Prime Energy drink endorsed athlete. We've talked about your fandom of Logan Paul and his influence. How did this come about, and how did the endorsement deal entail? Like, aside from the amazing access to the quality energy drink, but what is it else? Is it aside from getting, obviously recognition on their social media page and everything that comes with it?
Of course. You got to drink Prime. Stay hydrated. It is the fastest hydration and energy drink on the market. The hydration drink specifically is 10% coconut water, 250 milligrams of BCAAs, B vitamins, antioxidants, and 834 milligrams of electrolytes. I definitely just lost everybody who was listening to this podcast. They're like, Jack, we don't want to hear about this. You don't want to hear about Prime. I totally get it. That's okay. You don't have to hear about it. You just have to drink it.
And that's where can you find that? Is that normal convenience stores, Target, supermarkets?
Prime, Walmart, Target, GNC, Vitamin Shop, just to name a few. You can find Prime anywhere.
That's good stuff. So what does it entail? I mean, as far as like, how did they get in contact with you? Was it an ambassador, someone local, something like that?
Mm-hmm. So it's strictly an ambassadorship. Pretty much they had put up on their social media that they were looking for ambassadors to help promote Prime, anyone who's young in the content creating space. And I had a friend of mine in wrestling named Trippy Jordy, who trained at Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. And he reached out to me and he sent me the link and he's like, yo, man, you got to see this. Is crazy. I know you love Prime. He's also a big Prime fan. And I sent out for it. And I didn't think I would hear anything back, because when you get to like the last page of the quote unquote application, every time I hit submit, it said error detected. And that happened 5 times. So after the 5th time, I was kind of like, I guess it's not meant to be. I guess I'm just not supposed to do it. And then maybe a week or 2 later, thinking it didn't even go through, I got an email saying, congratulations, you have been selected to join the Drink Prime team. And it's been really cool. It's been awesome. I knew about it for about a week. I wasn't sure it was real. I kind of thought I was being like scammed or something until the packages of Prime showed up at my house. And I was like, oh, wow, this is legit. This is awesome. And it's been very cool. And I had this idea to take some photos in front of the Creative Pro banner to kind of announce it to everyone, because a lot of content creators get partnerships or ambassadorships or whatever you want to call it all the time. And I very thankfully have been offered a few in my time in creating content, but I don't believe in just taking a partnership or taking an ambassadorship for money or for free products. I don't like that. I want to promote something that I actually use, that I actually like. And outside of my support and fandom for the Paul brothers, I love the product of Prime. I truly do. I think it's fantastic. You know, for hydration, if you're dehydrated, drink Prime. If you need energy, drink Prime. It does it all, and it's fantastic. And I was very lucky. You know, I didn't think it would actually happen, and I'm very proud to be a part of that team and the message they promote.
That's amazing, man. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about Prime in a sec, but you're wearing it right over your shoulder. December 2022, you became the verified social media champion. Tell us the origin of that championship and why it was something you were seeking after so persistently, and what does it represent to you?
It's kind of the culmination of everything I ever chased in wrestling coming together. All my inspirations have had some way, shape, or form a connection to content creating, a connection to social media, whether it was growing up, my favorite wrestler was Zack Ryder, or getting inspired by the Paul brothers when I was chasing a young upstart professional wrestler. And I was trying to figure out, how do I find me? But like, they both speak to me so much. I don't want to change who I am, but I also want to find out my own version of myself. And this title is different. It's me. It's special. It's my design, my feeling, my vibe. It has the Spider-Man font, because I'm a very big Spider-Man fan. And as I was trying to figure out which way to go about it and which way to earn this opportunity, I found myself hitting 150,000 followers on TikTok, which I thought I was very proud of that accomplishment. And then lo and behold, Ryan Gosling comes into the picture, and he's talking some smack to me. And I find out really quickly, oh man, I'm actually not the most followed independent professional wrestler. It's Brett. And that kind of struck me. That was a bit intimidating. And I knew I couldn't be the social media champion of professional wrestling unless I beat him in professional wrestling. NFW gave me the opportunity to take him on in a match. It was the hardest hitting match I'd ever been a part of. Brett and I, no DQ. We took chairs. We went through doors. I mean, it was insane. It was crazy. But I feel like I really earned it. Like I heard someone on social media say like, oh, he just gave it to himself. He's like self-proclaimed. This doesn't count. I'm like, no, I had literally the hardest hitting match of my entire life against BRG to earn this title. And it was crazy. And if you don't think I earned it, there's a very, very painful, very painful shot of Brett hitting me with a steel chair to the back. And when I say I think part of my soul left my body, I think that's an understatement.
Well, you mentioned NFW. For those that don't know, it's Northern Federation of Wrestling. They've had a great promotion with up-and-coming wrestlers like yourself in Ridgefield, New Jersey, running out of Knights of Columbus, some decent crowds. And Jersey loves their wrestling, and so as does Long Island, but Jersey has a special place in their heart for wrestling, and you're becoming quite the staple there at their shows. But what has that environment been like now that you've been working at VPW, you've been at Creative Pro on the island, but going out to Jersey and working there? What are some of the highlights of working there and like being around those fans?
Mm-hmm. And NFW is fantastic. It's a totally different locker room. It's a different vibe because Creative Pro and Victory Pro are made up of Creative Pro guys. They're all people that I grew up training with, as opposed to NFW. There are a few Creative Pro stars in there, but it's mainly wrestlers who trained at other academies who I didn't know when they were first starting out. I met them when they were already on the independent scene. So they're totally different relationships, and I love that. I love the variety, but also we've been saying it for a while. VBU is NFW. So it's the same in the sense when we walk into, me and Dante, when we walk into the locker room, we feel very comfortable. We feel at home. We were the first ever NFW match, the first ever show. The first match was VBU versus the Golden Era. And it's just been fantastic. And now NFW, we go back this Sunday. And well, whenever this comes out, it aired Sunday the 26th, I believe it is. Sunday 26th.
It'll be the Sunday after, yeah, it'll be this weekend coming up.
Yeah, Dante and I are in triple threat tag action. We're taking on two very good NFW teams, and we're going to try and hopefully become the first ever NFW tag team champions.
That is awesome, man. We mentioned Creative Pro. The last event was only a few days ago, which was Dreamland. It was a nice night of action in Hicksville, if you guys caught it. And you were going to actually get your VBU brother, we keep mentioning, Dante Drago. And what was a really entertaining triple threat match for the TV title against Bobby Orlando. Ultimately, Bobby came out on top, but obviously your relationship with Dante was no worse for the wear. I think you guys hugged it out at the end. You're on the same page still. We also, and we could touch on it for a sec about you going to Wrestling Open not too long ago in Worcester. So VBU's been all over the place, but what else is new in the Vlog Bro University universe? We talk about yourself, but you know, Dante's a big part of what you're doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing that's happened to VBU was this past weekend. Like you just said, I had to wrestle Dante. Like it wasn't like a tag match. Like it was a triple threat. I mean, I don't know who made that decision to put me and Dante against each other. I know Bobby was there, but and then we were lied to. We were told that Dante and I could become the first ever co-Cap TV champions, only to find out mid-match that there can only be one winner. And I'll be honest, I can't put blame on anybody. You know, I have to take 50% of the blame. Dante is going to take the other half because we're both to blame. We had tensions flare up a bit in that match. I thought I had it won. I hit my DDT. It might be the shadow ban. It was what we might end up calling it. James Rodriguez, a member of the Jack Pack, gave me that name suggestion, and it was I thought I had it won. And I used to host Cap TV, so that's like my title, my baby. I felt it was made for me, and I almost had it, and Dante cost me it, but then I ended up costing him it, and then it just ended up we started punching each other, and you know, in the end, I think we let our emotions get the best of us. And I said this as I was leaving the ring, and I said it in the vlog, which will come out very soon. I said the only people that can stop VBU is VBU, because the only reason we lost that match is because we beat each other. Bobby didn't beat Dante. Bobby didn't beat me. We beat each other. And that's ours. That's our fault. That's on us. We have to own that. And I'll own it right here, right now. But we got to do better moving forward. I think moving forward, we should focus on tag gold as opposed to co-championship gold. I just think it'll make things a lot easier. There won't be one title to share. We'll each have our own. So I think Dante and I got to get our priorities a bit more straight moving forward. We're going to focus on that. But, you know, I think it's good because, you know, in the end, brothers fight. That's how it goes. Brothers fight. And if Dante and I coming to blows in that ring and then hugging it out in the end shocked anybody, then they obviously never had a brother.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned you probably have the answer to this question. You may have just said it, but you know, we're getting obviously a little bit of an upheaval at the top since Bryce Donovan was hurt and went down with an injury. There's been an interim champion at the top right now. Vargas is claiming that interim championship. And I know with the aforementioned Phil Cardigan was involved in that as well, but are you going to throw your hat in the ring potentially for that Cap championship? There's a long lineage, and that's a pretty prestigious championship that I'm sure would look really great on your trophy case.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, anytime, any place, any title, I'll be there.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, that was the main event. We saw Vargas come out on top against Phil Cardigan. He's pretty dangerous. I mean, at this point, if you guys haven't seen Vargas, go out there. The first time I saw him was in that Battle Royal. He got a shot at one of the championships, but he's been dominating. He's taking the opportunity right now with Bryce Donovan being hurt. obviously there's an opening, and that, you know, sometimes that creates a vacuum of power that someone needs to seek. And right now Vargas is at the top of Creative Pro, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, staying on Cap, we're getting the return of MJF in May at Cap Homecoming, which was a huge, you know, piece of news that popped up. And for those that do not know, Jack Tomlinson owns a win over the current holder of the Triple B, the AEW Championship.
True.
Any chance there's a confrontation with the VESTLER and one of the 4 pillars of AEW come
Well,
May?
listen, I have to say this right now. I love Max. I love Max. He is the salt of the earth. He's the AEW World Champion. Great guy. Great guy. I love Max. He was so generous to me in the beginning, helped guide me through professional wrestling. And, you know, if Max and I wrestle 8 times out of 10, I'm man enough to admit it. Max is getting the W. When we wrestled once before, I got lucky. I got one of those 2 matches. I think if we ever did it again, I probably would get lucky and get that other 2 to get the second win. But I'm just baffled. I'm confused because I was under the impression, so was the entire Jack Pack, even we're the haters, whether they like to admit it or not. We were all under the impression that I retired MJF from Creative Pro Wrestling. That was the standard. I beat him. He went to AEW. He's on to bigger, better things. He went and did a movie with Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, and now he's back. And no one told me. No one told. But, like, it's not Max's fault. I love Max. Love Max. Great guy. But I thought I retired him. Like, did I still retire him? Like, if he doesn't have a match, is he still retired? I don't know, but it's also wrestling. No one ever retires in wrestling. So who knows?
True.
I just want it to be known that I love Max, and he is better than you. It's just when I was 18 years old, I proved that he's just not better than me. But that's besides the point. That's in the past.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, speaking of AEW, you made another appearance since our last meeting here. You took on the Jericho Appreciation Society in a 6-man tag match where ultimately being choked out by Daniel Garcia, but you know, were in the ring with him and JAS. And this wasn't your first time working with AEW, and you famously done a quick hitter match with the Viking Raiders on Raw, as you mentioned before in the intro. But what was this latest experience like with AEW being in that 6-man, rubbing shoulders with some of JAS?
Yeah, I have to say, I did lose that match. I did tap out to Garcia, but like that wasn't my fault. That wasn't my fault. It couldn't be my fault. It was actually, if you heard, it was the commentator's fault because they kept referring to JAS as Jericho Appreciation Society. They didn't get the memo that JAS actually stands for Jack Appreciation Society. So every time they said
right.
like, I'd hear it. It's like that little devil on your shoulder. I'd hear it and I'd like turn and like be like, hey, get it right. And the next thing I knew, Daniel Garcia took advantage of my distraction. So again, like with Bobby this past weekend, I beat myself. I'm to blame for that. Hopefully I get the opportunity in the future to go back to the elite and, you know, right a few wrongs. Hopefully that comes.
Very, very good stuff. And I'm sure we'll see you back in AEW at some point, whether it be on Dark or Dynamite. We'll see that soon. But you started a new company, and this is the first event ever for RAD Pro Wrestling. And this is out in Massachusetts. So they get a different side of you and Dante. So we get Bobbi Sapphire, that's yourself, and Tang Gray, that's Dante Drago. And you guys form the Botanicals. And for those who are uninitiated with that information, it's you guys with a British flair, with some mixology background. And I'll give you guys a little background about RAD Pro Wrestling in a second, but I want to hear your story about what type of creative itch this is scratching for the 2 guys and who came up with this idea. Was it RAD Pro Wrestling, or are you guys getting in a room and be like, hey, let's do this?
Yeah. So the idea originally came from RAD Pro Wrestling. The idea for the entire show is to give every single one of your favorite Northeast independent wrestling stars a total new look, a makeover of who you think they are, and show a totally different side of us. And we were presented with this idea just to be mixologists. That was it. We were told, you're a mixologist. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Tang. Figure it out. And Dante Drago, being a stud, being the frat star, came to me and he texted me. And this is one of the funniest things in the world. And I wish I saved this voice note. But he sends me this really like excited message. And he's like, Jack, I have this great idea for RAD Pro. You're going to love it. And I go, all right, great, man. What do you got? And he sends me this really long message. And I'm like, I didn't understand any of it. And I say, that's great, man. I don't know what you're talking about. And he sends me a 3-second voice note, and it is just him going, Botanicals. And I'm like, what do we do with this? I don't know what that means. And we go to training to film this promo to introduce Bobbi Sapphire and Tang Gray. And he just keeps going, Botanicals. And Oh man, Dante championed that group, championed the botanicals in our debut, and it was fantastic. You know, I love accents. I love doing accents. I do them all the time for no reason other than I just enjoy them. I think I have to work on my British accent a bit more. Like that was not good. I have to get into it. Hello, I'm Bobby Sapphire. So I have to work on it a bit more to try and get as good as possible for Rad Pro Wrestling's next show. And I think we're going to do quite well. We came out with the W, which is to be expected from an Oxford University graduate in myself, Bobby Sapphire. And, you know, we just mix it up.
I really enjoy it too. And, you know, speaking of Rad Pro, 90s Pro Wrestling is what Rad Pro advertises, setting the clock back to 1994. New promotion, like we said, just began March 18th, 2022. That was their first show. Gimmicks galore, just overall fun. And you mentioned before, but what do you, in your estimation, what do you think Rad Pro is trying to bring to wrestling that's different? I know you said the gimmicks, but anything else that you noticed on that first show?
I mean, the entire show is different, top to bottom. Everything is, I mean, everything is different. Every character is brand new. Every character is different. Everyone has a spin on it. I couldn't begin to explain how different it is, and I'm so excited to see what happens next with it.
So make sure you guys give Rad Pro Wrestling a follow on Instagram. Get tickets to their next show in Amesbury, Massachusetts at the Bear Wolf Brewing Company, June 24th. The show called Island of Illusion. Maybe you'll get to see Bobby Sapphire in action, maybe some Tang Gray. Maybe they'll pour you guys a drink during intermission. Who knows?
I can't wait. I actually just got back today. If you want to see them, I got back my first promo pics as Bobby Sapphire.
I would love to see those.
I can hold them up to the camera. So this is the first one. Of course, we're always promoting the Prime.
I like the Paperboy hat. Looks good.
Drinking the Prime, of course.
There you go.
And then you have the botanicals themselves.
Oh, I love it. Clean too. Like nice little removed background there that you use as a high res on a graphic card. I love it. Beautiful. I can't wait to see where you guys show up again on that. Maybe just, you know, one off in Rad Pro, but maybe you guys get comfortable and it's like, you know what? You want to book Jack Tomlinson? You want to book Bobby Sapphire? You can also run a little house party. I'll make some drinks for you guys. Let's step outside the ring for a second.
The botanicals are there.
So let's step out of the ring for a second. And you starred in a feature film entitled Phoenix, directed by Colin Roach. And you played the role of River Madisyn. Correct me if I'm wrong, if those facts are they're correct so far. And there's a lot to unpack here. And I think this makes for interesting conversation because of the parallels between filming a long form film and making magic in the ring, as wrestling and film have a lot of similarities. But let's start with how you got involved in this project. You mentioned on the first show that we were on that you had an interest in acting. You were taking acting classes, but what has gone on between now and then to give you this opportunity?
Yeah, so I was just submitting on a bunch of casting websites, and I basically have that young up and coming actor mentality that you just submit for everything. You go for it all, and you give your best, and you hope for the best. That's all you can do. And I was submitting for a lot of things, and I actually remember vividly doing that audition. And my father was helping me with the read of the other character off camera. And when we were done, I looked at him and I said, "That was not it, Dad. That was bad. That was the worst audition I ever filmed." And he looked at me and said, "Sometimes that's the best one you ever do because you don't overthink everything. You're not in your head. You just do it. You don't put too much thought into it." And I was very fortunate. I got Colin and I met over a Zoom meeting a couple weeks later when I got a call back and auditioned one more time. And I got this incredible opportunity. And wherever it goes next, remains to be seen. It's going to try and filter its way through the film festival circuit, which is exciting. But it was so different. It was everything I had never done before as an actor and everything I'd ever wanted to do. My favorite type of acting is things that are based heavily on script and on dialogue, and script and dialogue are the same thing. I meant to say heavily based on script and acting. And like my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies ever is Good Will Hunting, which is a low budget film that is focused primarily on the great acting and the incredible script that it has. And that's kind of what this felt like to me. It was a really good script. I really loved the story, and it kind of just relied on having a great cast and crew, which we did. We had a phenomenal crew. And it was so much fun. It was very, very intense. It was a drama piece, and it tackles a lot of heavy issues involving regret, love, loss, racism, and understanding the weight of our words and how our actions have consequences, not only for ourselves, but the world around us. And it really shined a light on the world, not only for I think anyone that will see it, but trying to light on it for myself, it really made me go like, whoa, I have to really, I have a new love for people that have different backgrounds than me. And I found that it was so beneficial to me, not only as an actor, but as a man. I loved it.
That's awesome. And you mentioned before you're going to try to filtering through possibly some of the film festivals, but is there a place where people can find this, where it's going to live a timeline where they can watch it and check this out?
So as of right now, no, it is still in the editing process. We only wrapped in early January, so we still are going through that whole post-production phase. But whenever it is done, and whenever we do know that, and I know that, I will let everybody know immediately.
Yeah, and then going back to the comparison between wrestling and acting, I mean, the similarities sort of speak for themselves, but what were some of the things you found more difficult acting than wrestling? Obviously, wrestling is one take and it's you either nail it or you don't. And in acting, you have a couple takes, but what is something you find a little bit more difficult that is on the acting side?
Um, for the last 7 years of my life, professional wrestling has been my main source of entertainment. And in wrestling, you try and be as larger than life as possible. You want to be big so that everyone all the way in the back can see you, and you want to put on a great show that is, again, larger than life. And with my content, whether on YouTube or TikTok, again, I do that every time. I try and make it as big and as flashy as I can. And then when you get to set and you're acting, you kind of have to reel it in, and you have to calm down because the camera's right here. It's right on you. You don't need to be so big. Um, and that was the big advice that my acting teacher gave me right before I started. She said, Jack, though, let the words do the work for you. Just less is more, and just take a deep breath and just do it. And I think that was a big thing for me. Just remembering that I don't need to be as larger than life as I'm used to.
And in our last interview, we obviously spoke on it as well about you going to classes, and we touched on how the acting piece truly helps the in-ring stuff. We talked about selling, promos, all that good stuff. But what's something that's less obvious for people that in acting in a film that you found transition to further sharpening your in-ring presence? So you mentioned try to go against the grain. You don't want to be as big as you are in the ring, but was there something that after you got finished filming this movie that you went back in the ring, wrestled a match, be like, whoa, that really helped me out?
I started to notice watching matches back, not only of mine, but of not mine, but others, the beauty of a camera. And I noticed it a lot when I would watch John Cena or Randy Orton. Their ability to do something and then just sit in it and take a moment, and the camera has enough time to zoom in on their face, and you just get an entire story through Cena or Orton's face, whether it's through their eyes or their mouth or just their overall muscle movement of their jaw. And I just found that so interesting, and I never really looked at it that much. And this past weekend at Creative Pro, I think both Dante and myself approached it heavily with that. There was a couple moments in the match, and I'm not saying it was perfect. You can always improve, but there was a couple of moments in the match where we definitely sat in that, and we're like, hopefully the camera gets us. Hopefully everyone in the audience can see. There's more going on upstairs in our head than there is going on throughout our entire body, which is just a different way of telling the story. Whether it's right or wrong is depending. It's a flavor of ice cream type of thing. I think it's also moment to moment, but I think they definitely go hand in hand together, acting and wrestling. I learned so much from one and the other, and I would love to make a career doing either or. I mean, I've always said my two biggest accolade dreams or selfish dreams that I have is to win a world championship at a major company. When I was a kid, I grew up wanting to be WWE champion, and the other dream is to win an Oscar one day. And those are the two big goals that I have for myself.
Yeah, and I think those are obviously wrestling and acting, and we see guys, the biggest examples, The Rock, but you can go down the line with Cena, Dave Bautista. I think there's something to be said about the one take notion of wrestling where it's kind of, there's no safety net. Like obviously wrestling is an art to be interpreted. So if there is a botch, you can work it into the match. But I think that's what people take for granted when you are filming, taped, obviously taped to live or live and you're in front of an audience. There's no take two. There's like, oh, I messed that one up. It's, you continue to go with it. So, I mean, there's something to be said about the transition. I think it speaks of volumes about you doing both and doing both well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, hopefully I do it well. No one's seen this film yet. I haven't even seen it yet, so I don't know how it came out. I hope it did come out well, but it's definitely I got bit by that bug. I actually started writing my own scripts right now, and I'm trying to very, very early stages, but I'm working on my own production company so I can start to produce and direct my first short film that I wrote, which I'm very excited about.
That is awesome too. Do you want to give any details for that here, or you want to hold off for a future interview?
Well, I mean, I would love to come back and talk about it at some point. I do know that I'm aiming to film it this summer. I have a director friend who's helping me work on it. We've been working on the script together. His name is Ryan, so thanks Ryan for helping me with this. And I'm super excited. It's again another drama. I'm a big fan of drama pieces, and it's I don't want to say it's a crime drama, but I guess I'll say it's a crime drama. But I have the first draft. The first draft is done, and I think based off the notes that Ryan and I have been gathering together, it's pretty similar to what the final cut will be.
Well, awesome. Stay tuned for that, guys. And obviously, Jack will post it on his Instagram. You guys can follow if you're watching on screen at Jack Tomlinson 2000. You also can follow him on TikTok. You can also follow him on Twitter, YouTube as well. Subscribe, guys, to all those things. And I'll put all the social media tags in the bottom of the description, both audio and visual. But let's transition back to the ring for a second. And we're a few weeks away from the 17th anniversary show for Victory Pro Wrestling on 4/15 in Bayshore, New York. The Pro Game Athletic Center facility has become like the home away from home for VPW. This is like their fourth straight show there. And as VPW celebrates their teenage birthday, 17 years old, what does the promotion mean to you? You were the standard bearer for quite some time as champion, and in a lot of ways you still are the uncrowned champion, making a lot of memorable moments there. What does VPW mean to you?
Oh man, for a while I would have said that VPW was everything. VPW was home. I would have said that for the last 5 years or 4 years, however long I've been there, because Creative Pro was home because it's where I started, but VPW was the first place to ever give me a chance. That wasn't a school I trained at. It was the first place to ever put me in a main event. And actually my last show at VPW was my 10th ever main event in a Victory Pro Wrestling ring. And that was fantastic. Wow. That was a dream. And you would think I have all these great things to say about Victory Pro Wrestling. And I do have great things to say about Victory Pro Wrestling. Victory Pro Wrestling management, not so much, because listen, I go out there every single time and I have two goals. It is to put on the match of the night, and it is to give the Jack Pack their money's worth. That is what I have to do every single time. If I don't do that, I don't care if I do that, I don't care win, lose, draw, whatever. It's a matter of the Jack Pack providing for them. I sometimes think me and the Jack Pack see eye to eye, and I think the constant obstacles that VPW management has put in front of us have just felt unfavorable, for lack of a better term. I mean, when we first came back from the pandemic, it started with me versus Cade and the Wolves of Odin. That's 3-on-1. Then it was me versus Johnny Collins and Even Stevens, 3-on-1. Then it was me versus Mike Anthony and the Rat Bastards, again, 3-on-1. But when I finally got it to 1-on-1, me and Mike Anthony, I was like, this is perfect. The Jack Pack is finally going to get the moment that they deserve, that we have all been working so hard for. And Eric James, for no other reason other than he's best friends with the GM of Victory Pro Wrestling, and he just decides he's in the match, and then he goes on and pins Mike and doesn't pin me. I could say a lot of great things about VPW. I can't say any good things about VPW management. And whatever ends up happening at the next VPW show, I'm going to make that very clear, and I'm going to make it so incredibly obvious that it might just have to hit him right in the face for him to notice it, that I want my VPW title. And if Eric James stands in the way, he's going to go down.
So to give everybody some context here, we last saw Jack at VPW Notorious 2/11/23. So it was a little month back. I think, about a month ago at this point. You showed a bit of an edge. You even came out with the vlog post-match, wondering if you should maybe let the old ways die. We saw a little bit of like a different side of Jack Tomlinson in a VPW ring, and rightfully so. You were put in a position to lose your title when you had the chance to get Mike Anthony in the ring to get it back. This was your one-on-one match, as you mentioned. Eric James got involved, as you mentioned, in an unprecedented decision. There's no way around it. It's unprecedented. As talented as Eric James is, it was unprecedented. That's not how a title match usually works. To make it a triple threat, that's not how things work. But where do you stand on getting on the path? You said you want to get on the mic and tell people and make it known, but do you have a specific plan at the 17th anniversary show?
Yeah, I ask for a microphone to say my piece, and if they don't give it to me, I take it, and then I just go sit in the ring until I get everything off my chest. And if they don't want to hear it, that's fine. I will scream it. And if they have to drag me out of there, then that's fine. I will just take every single person down with me along the way with a subscriber stomp to you, a subscriber stomp to you. I'll be like Oprah Winfrey with my subscriber stomps. I'll be giving them out to everybody and anybody that stands in my way of becoming a 2-time VPW champion.
Well, let's touch on the edge a little bit with the, I don't want to say heelish tendencies. I think it's more of just an attitude adjustment, to use a little bit of a shift in terms, because I think we've seen a transition of your persona. And because I think you mentioned before, and I think we could see it in the way you're talking about the next event, you're frustrated. And have we seen a complete transition of Jack Tomlinson in VPW, or is this something that is going to be a one-off as long as things go your way?
I've always said this. I am Jack everywhere I go. I am unapologetically myself anywhere and everywhere. Or you hate me, that's simply up to the viewer. That's simply up to the audience. Sometimes I go out there and people love it and people are enjoying. They want to be in the vlog. Other times people want to go out there and punch me in the face. And that's the beauty of wrestling. I'm not going to tell anyone how to feel or what to think about me. I just know what I feel and what I think. And I know that I love my Jack Pack. And VPW is filled with Jack Pack members. And I feel like I have given them anything and everything since we have come back for the last 2 years, since post the pandemic. And I have literally carried that company on my back. I have single-handedly put up more promotion and content regarding VPW than the entire locker room combined. That's not just a statement. I have had one TikTok garner more views than the entire VPW locker room has gotten views on all platforms. And that's a fact. Anyone can check that, and it is true. And to be met with so many potholes in this road. I mean, I just heard this quote 2 seconds ago, but I'm on the gas and I'm not putting my foot on the brake for a long time. I'm going straight through. I don't care if it goes through Eric. I don't care if it goes through VSK. I don't care if it goes through VPW management. I have beaten every single obstacle that has been put in front of me, and I will continue to do that every single time because it is what the Jack Pack wants. And wrestling is about giving the fans what they want. Everyone's like, no, you got to give them what they need. No, you give them what they want, because what they want is what they need, because that's what makes them back. What they want is me. They don't want Eric. I don't want Eric.
So you guys can check that out. That's the 17th anniversary, Blood, Sweat, and 17 Years, April 15th, 2023, Bayshore, New York. You guys can check my link tree out. Go to victoryprowrestling.com and find the event. You can come see me at a table. I'll be giving out merch and filming some content, but most notably, see the wrestlers in action, hear what Jack has to say once he gets the microphone in hand. I don't think he's going to waste any time. It might be open the show, so don't be late. So we're about a week away, Jack, from the Wrestling Eyes turning towards Tinseltown, Los Angeles, California. Not only just the home of WWE's flagship event, but a hub for indie wrestling. Are you planning on hopping on a plane, going out and taking some bookings? Are you watching from afar, feeling it out?
I'll leave that as a surprise.
Interesting. What are your thoughts, though, about the LA area being a hub for, I mean, obviously WrestleMania is always attracting independents to work around it. Obviously bigger, Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW, everyone's working in the area. But what do you think about that becoming like this Hollapalooza, of wrestling, WrestleMania weekend has become?
I'll be honest, I've never wrestled on the West Coast. It's something I would really love to do someday. So I don't really know what it's going to make of, what it's going to look like, what it's going to be. But I'm excited. It's the biggest week, not only for WWE, it's the biggest week in professional wrestling. And it's a massive opportunity for all levels of wrestlers. So I wish the best of luck to everyone. And I just think it's great. I think it's going to be fantastic. I hope to see everyone succeed. Unless your name's Eric James, I hope you don't succeed. But, that's a little biased.
So let's get into the wrestling world at large. Let's talk WWE. I know you're a big WWE fan, and obviously you grew up watching WWE. You mentioned some of your favorites, but we are a week or so, as I mentioned, from WrestleMania 39. Last we spoke, obviously things have changed. Cody Rhodes wasn't in WWE last time we spoke, and Roman Reigns was still champ, but there's been other things that have changed. But what are your feelings about the show and how the car is being constructed? No, Roman's still the champ, but Cody wasn't. Cody wasn't in the company though.
Oh, I thought you said Roman wasn't the champ. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, isn't the champ now? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's still the champion.
Oh, he'll be champion for obviously at this point it'll be like 990 days when WrestleMania hits. But what are you looking forward to at WrestleMania? Are you going to be gathering with friends and watching? Are you excited about one match in particular?
I'm excited to see my new boss, Logan Paul, wrestle at WrestleMania. He's my new boss. Prime founder is going to be wrestling at WrestleMania. That's crazy.
Fantastic. I mean, honestly, his match with Seth Rollins right now, this would be his third in-ring match. He wrestled The Miz, he wrestled Roman Reigns, and now he's going to be wrestling Seth Rollins, and he's impressed every single time. What was it? Oh, the Royal Rumble.
No, it'll be his fifth. My bad. It was The Miz and Dominic Mysterio at last year's Mania. Then it was Miz at SummerSlam. Then it was Roman. Then it was the Royal Rumble. And now it's going to be Seth. Did you see at Elimination Chamber? Logan Paul did a subscriber stomp.
He did. Yes, he did.
Logan Paul did a subscriber stomp. I mean, I wore yellow tights, and then Logan decided to wear yellow tights. So to pay it back, he wore a card out at WrestleMania. I wore a card out at FWF Live. I do a subscriber stomp. He does a subscriber stomp. He creates Prime. So I'm an ambassador for Prime. We operate on the same wavelength. I think it's kind of strange. It's meant to be.
You guys are meant to be. You guys are both ambassadors for the same brand at this point. So you guys are two peas in a pod.
Well, he's not an ambassador. He's the owner.
Oh, that's true. But I mean, he's also an ambassador too. He believes in it as well, just like you. But what was your take on the Sami Zayn stuff? I know that obviously this is kind of old news at this point and Sami's gone in a different direction, but would you, like, if you were the one booking the show, would you have thrown the title on Sami or would you stuck with the Cody plan? Like, what is your gut feeling of what they should have done?
I can't tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do. I can't do that. I love wrestling.
If Jack Tomlinson had the book, what would you do?
I would have given me the title.
If Bobby Sapphire had the book, what would he do?
I would have given Bobby Sapphire the title. Actually, maybe I would have given Tangray the title. Maybe I would have given it to Dante.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing with the Sami Zayn stuff, it's all about feel. Like, I think at this point, like, it's about following the fans. You mentioned giving the fans what they want and also what they need, but also following through with the story. So, like, I think this is one of the few times in wrestling that we have. It could have went in different directions, and I think everyone's looking forward to both matches at this point, both the tag titles and both obviously Cody's chance of getting redemption for the world title.
Wrestling's a beautiful thing, man. It's just it's art, it's storytelling, and it's literally, especially that Cody match. It's what is that, 60 plus years of wrestling storytelling in the making. It's so beautiful. It's hard not to be romantic about wrestling. It's such a beautiful thing.
So awesome. And we mentioned Logan Paul's match, wrestling Seth Rollins. I'm sure that you have that circled as he is your boss now, but he's one of your favorite competitors in the ring at everything he does. What do you think about the spot on the card? And like, is there a way that this can, like, you think this is going to blow people away at this point? Or do you think at this point people are expecting him to go out there and show out? Is that the expectation now? He's going to steal the show, or do you think he has a lot to prove still?
If he drinks Prime, he'll do it all.
Amazing. What has been, like, I guess your idea of Logan Paul? Like, obviously last we spoke, he was an outsider coming into wrestling. And at this point, he's proven himself more than anything. I think the crown jewel match he had with Roman Reigns, mostly, I mean, at this point, it doesn't surprise anybody. You go with the Ricochet spot, you go to the match he did with I think you mimicked exactly what he did too, with doing the actual filming content while doing a splash. All that stuff has been great for wrestling. So do you see him having a full-time spot in this card at this point, and like people maybe buying into him after this Seth Rollins match?
I think Logan Paul is above all an entertainer. I don't just say this because I'm a fan. I don't just say this because for Prime. I say it like genuinely. The man is a charismatic entertainer, and think what you want about him. He is same with Jake. Think what you want of them, like them or hate them. They're entertaining and they're attention grabbing. And that is what sports entertainment needs. You need someone that can grasp your attention and have you at the edge of your seat wanting to know what they're going to do next, but being able to pick up a mic and making you hate their guts. And they do that, and they do it well. And wrestling needs it wherever it comes from. Any sport, any business, any walk of life, your goal is to grow and get eyes on it. And whatever way that happens, that's great. That's beautiful.
We mentioned Max before on the AEW side of things. I'm not sure if you're consuming AEW, WWE on a consistent basis, but they had that 60-minute Iron Man match and had me thinking, obviously, your thoughts on the match, but I want to think about Jack Tomlinson looking at the independents at large, not just, just dream opponents in the future, like a guy like Logan Paul, but who can you imagine yourself going toe-to-toe with 60 minutes in the ring where you guys could steal the show and have like one of those, match stealing memorable moments in the ring for 60 minutes?
MJF. I think there is a beautiful story there. He is, as much as he is the world champion, he's the young guy in the locker room, and he's 25. Like, he is young, and there's only one person that has been on his journey that is younger than that. Not that there's only one person younger than him, but there is only one person that was kind of taken under his wing and trained by him, and that was me. And it ended up in this Obi-Wan Anakin type battle that left left the Padawan getting the win last time around. And I really hope that one day we could have that, revisit that story and revisit that journey on a bigger scale, on a bigger stage with bigger stakes, and have more people see the beauty that comes out of creative pro wrestling and the talent that comes out of creative pro wrestling, because that's money. That's money.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing we talked about this before, Creative Pro has been such a hub of pro wrestling, and you can go down the list of the future and present. And, obviously they continue to churn out. It's a factory of pro wrestling. Long Island at large is really, if you watch this whole Northeast area, everyone's been popping out, and it's just been amazing to watch independents grow. But outside of specific stipulations, we mentioned Iron Man match for a dream match. Are there people you have penciled in as dream matches for the rest of 2023? That you haven't worked with yet? We can think about NFW, Creative Pro, VPW, and even NYWC, Remarkable Wrestling, all the indies that have these guys that are going out and having great matches on the weekends.
Oh yeah, for sure. I made a list of goals that I have for this year, and we all know I want that VPW title back. I want with DANTE to be the first ever NFW tag team champions. There's a vegan wrestler that goes by the name of Leo Sparrow. I've never been able to wrestle him. I would love to do that. I think he is a very talented wrestler coming out of Creative Pro, and I would love to wrestle him. I've never done a ladder match. I want to do one of those. And as specifically in regards to this social media championship, I also wrestled for a company called Invictus Pro Wrestling, who they have a social media championship, but it's just the Invictus social media championship. This is the social media championship of all of professional wrestling. It is the only verified social media championship in the world. And they have someone else holding that title. I mean, there is no better champion for the Invictus Social Media Championship, the SCM Social Media Champion, or did I say that right? SMC Social Media Champion. See, I'm flustered over my words. I got flustered because there's someone else holding a social media championship in the Northeast independent scene, and it's kind of hurting my feelings. It's hurting my feelings. But I've been talking with Invictus. I think I'm coming back really soon, and hopefully we're gonna sort out this whole SMC issue here so that the haters and the Jack Pack know there's only one verified social media champion in professional wrestling.
What about the digital media championship with Impact? Is that a completely different entity, or is that something you have your eye on as well?
I mean, it's definitely a completely different entity, absolutely. But I always have my eye on that. I have my eye on everything. I told you, anytime, any place, any title, I'm there. Put them on a shirt. If anybody listening to this is in the Jack Pack, I am not the best with graphic designs. Help me out. Make that graphic design with me and my social media championship on there. And the words, anytime, any place, any title, I'm there.
Going back to the VPW match for a sec, I meant to ask you with the Mike Anthony feud, you were wearing black in that match, and that had to be intentional. I know you don't do a lot of things by accident. There was an edge to you in that night, wearing the black tights. That was a different look for you. I'm sure that, have we seen the end of the feud with Mike Anthony at this point? Are you now focusing your attention on Eric James because he's the holder of something you want, or do you still have beef with Mike Anthony and the Rat Bastards?
Nope, absolutely moving on with Eric. The attention is solely on him. I got nothing but love and respect for Mike Anthony at this point. My beef with Mike Anthony was squashed in the first 4 minutes of that match, because when it came down to it, when it was finally one-on-one, Mike versus me, and there was no one else involved, I made him tap out in that ring in 4 minutes. I love Mike. I respect Mike as a wrestler, as an entertainer. He's great. But when it came down to it, we proved that he can't stop the social media champion. He's not up to par with the Jack Pack. And I beat him. And I thought I should have become the VPW champ off that. That's not how it worked. That's not how the cards fell. But that's life. That's how the sport goes. But yeah, no, nothing but love in Mike Anthony's direction at this point.
All right, fair enough. I mean, we have Eric James targeted as well, and I don't know if they've announced all the matches yet for Blood, Sweat, and 17 Years. So some matches get announced, but guys, stay tuned for that. Victory Pro Wrestling. You don't want to miss it. Either way, be in the building. You guys check out everything going on. Jack will be there in person. If honestly, you can meet him at intermission. You guys can buy some merch. You can see that title, that beautiful championship in person, and take a picture. That's the best part about independent wrestling. Come see Jack Tomlinson. Maybe Dante will be there. Everyone will be there. Come say hi to everybody.
I agree. I love that part about indie wrestling, that you can just interact with everyone, get to know everyone, build some strong relationships, strong bonds.
And dude, I want to thank you for joining me again. This has been so much fun. And before I let you go, just give people a few things they should expect from the Jack Pack specifically, but other people can expect from Jack Tomlinson for the spring and summer, because we got some future months. The weather's getting warmer. Some more bookings are coming up. What can people expect from Jack Tomlinson?
Oh man, well, I feel like I unpacked a lot in this podcast. I was just sitting there in my head. I was just saying to myself, damn, I think I just addressed like 18 different storylines in wrestling. I mean, we have Invictus, where I wanna unify these social media championships. We got that going on. NFW VBU wants to become the first ever NFW Tag Team Championships. The champions, VPW, I want to become a 2-time champion. I want to settle this and squash and subscriber stomp Eric James. Creative Pro Wrestling, Dante and I got to get back on track, focus on some tag gold as opposed to these co-championships that we've been doing. There's a lot going on in wrestling. Rad Pro Wrestling, Bobbi Sapphire is now a thing. That's cool. That's exciting. I don't know where that's going to go, but I'm excited for it as well. And then, like I said, this summer, I plan on entering production for my first ever short film that I wrote, and I'm going to direct myself, and I'm going to star in, and I'm really excited. I hopefully plan to filter that through the film festival circuit as well, but I'm so excited about that. I'm nervous, but I think deep down that's what I'm most excited about in this world, because that's my baby. That's mine. I wrote it. Like it was just this idea that just, I don't know how to put it into words other than just it's like a feeling. How do I word this? I want to word this right. If you do something, but someone else gave you the idea, and then you go and do it, and it's done well, and someone compliments you, that feels great, and you feel validated. But you always know that someone else kind of helped push you in that direction. That's great. It takes a village to get anything done in this world. But when you have this idea and you motivate it, and hopefully it's well received, and you know it came from your heart and it's something you were passionate about, that's like it's a different level. And I don't know if that will happen. You know, I could find out that it sucks and that I suck. We don't know how that's going to turn out in the end. But at this moment in time, I'm very excited about that. And it's one of many that I'm working on. So hopefully this becomes like a reoccurring thing for me, that I can just show a different side of myself and a different entertainment artistic outlet, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, and there's a vulnerability about putting yourself out there. And it's the same thing with wrestling, it's the same thing with podcasting, about putting yourself out there and being creative. But obviously you're bearing your soul with this thing, that this creative project that is acting, and it is a script you wrote, and it comes from a place, whether it be obviously fictional or maybe based in reality. There's a lot of you that's in it. So I think there's a lot of, you're sharing a big piece of yourself with the world. And that's a beautiful thing, man. And that's the beautiful part about media, whether it be, you know, short things like TikTok or long form like movies, everything in between. And the main thing is making people feel. And I think that's the goal always.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, if you notice in the last like 2 minutes, I just got like really flustered with my words, and I'm not as I'm doing it again. I can't do it right now. When I talk about anything in terms of acting, it's always rooted in my heart. Because I associate wrestling like with the 10-year-old version of me, who was just watching wrestling every week on TV and just loving life and thinking these were real life superheroes, and they are. And then when I get to acting, and it's just everything that's ever happened in my life, every emotion, every feeling I've ever had coming into one, the good and the bad. It's the most therapeutic, artistic thing I've ever done. I love it more than I can put into words, and it's so different for me. Gets me giddy.
I love it. And you guys can stay tuned on to Jack's social media for the upcoming release of Phoenix by Colin Roach. And I have in my notes right here the name of your character, but just remind us, it's the name of the character you're playing in the movie.
River Madisyn.
Yeah, River Madisyn. So you guys can check that out and find it out, whether it be at a local festival near you guys or just released digitally. You guys can check that out. I'm sure Jack will post it along with some Prime content. You guys follow him on TikTok, all that good stuff. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. I'll include all the things on the bottom. We don't have Twitch. We did this last time. No Twitch for Jack Tomlinson.
No Twitch. Not a gamer. Not a gamer.
So any last words before we say goodbye to everybody? This was so much fun to do this, and it's great to have you back on here. The first 2-time person I've interviewed, and I look forward to making you a 3-time interviewee.
I hope so. I'm excited. Any last words? I guess I gotta say, drink Prime.
I love it. Well, for Jack Tomlinson, this has been Acefield Retro. You've been listening to Visits the Tavern. We'll catch you guys next time. Enjoy your weekend.